So Dr. Faraz, Assalamu alaikum. So what are you saying is that if I'm looking at the flower and it's blooming and I'm enjoying it, and then I get really sad when it starts to wilt and die, then that I really, what you're saying is that this wisdom or whatever that I'm feeling, it really, I have no ownership to it, that it's just, that it's Allah's wisdom, that it's being put in me to be feeling this way, that I have no ownership of my sadness or my feelings or whatever that I'm, the, feeling about this beautiful flower that it's dying right in front of me.
You are muted, Faraz.
Sorry. You could use that. You could put it that way. I don't have ownership. And I would, the same thing can be said in the way the verse talks about it. Do I hear the news? I may not go into who owns it, doesn't own it. I don't know what owning or not owning feelings would look like because they're not something material. But the crux of the matter is, did I hear the news that they're telling me something about wherever they're coming from? What, as a reasoning human being, what can I say about the news? What news do they bring? What news is brought to me by the wisdom that judges whatever it judges in the world? Flower blooming. I rarely see a flower blooming and dying, so it's a bit far, it's experience distant for me. But for example, I see my mother wanting more attention from my father, and when he doesn't do it, she wilts like a flower wilts. She's not. And I see and I judge that I want her to get the care that and love, to feel loved. And this wisdom that judges that a person who is nice and who wants love should be loved, who is craving love should be loved. This wisdom, what news does it bear to me? What it sometimes the news it bears to me is my father's is really, should do better. Or my mother's situation is terrible, whatever the news that I get. And of course, this is all very disturbing and burdensome and afflicting. The verse says, look, can you hear the news? I'm describing this reality to you that you've described already for yourself, and you're living it. You're living the consequence of it. If should you wish to listen to me, your maker, I'm telling you, I'm describing it differently. I'm going to describe it as angels bearing news about me. Are you willing to see that the wise and the mighty is me? Do you hear this news? And then, does your heart find any peace or ease when you get this news? And personally, I do. When I do get the news that the sustainer''s judgment is wisdom, judges that a person in need of love should be loved, will be loved, ought to be loved. Wisdom judges. My wise sustainer is such a one. His wisdom is such a wisdom. His might, similarly, his might and wisdom judges that a person who lives a beautiful life should not just die and rot in the graveyard, in a grave. Wisdom does not judge that to be wise, for beauty to perish without any future. For there to be no future to something good is unwise. And this Wisdom therefore judges that what is beautiful must last. A sustainer who is wise brings news to me of a wise existence, a life given with wisdom, not with unwisdom and cruelty. So I get a news my from these message bearing angels, which is the Quran's description of what I call my feelings and my about a sustainer. And they do put my heart at ease. When I think that really my mother is destined for her sustainer wishes for her perfect love and attention and care eternally, I do find this news to be very reassuring and puts me at ease. It puts her at ease when I speak to her about it. When I say, it's perfect. Your heart cries out when it doesn't get the love that it is seeking. It's beautiful that you cry for a companion and companionship that is going to be perfect and compassionate. It's it bears such wonderful news if it's about the sustainer. It bears a soul crushing, depressing, cruel news when it is about my mother or father or their relationship or whatever else it might be. So, yes, the flower, but most of the time we're surrounded by human beings that, and their predicaments and our own predicaments, human predicaments, put us at great dis-ease and affliction. What we want good for ourselves and others. And to hear the news of a wise sustainer in those, to not in your, I'm sorry, I'm missing the name, but whoever spoke, Huda, I guess, taking ownership harms me, just makes me not very happy. But hearing the news, I mean, disowning doesn't mean it's not my feeling. It is with me, but it's simply that what is it doing for me? What news does it give me? And I think what's revelatory about Revelation is a redescription of that reality, that experience. If you think it's this, all right, how about if I told you this is what you should think of it? Um, how do you feel then? And and so that's something for me to think about, and my different afflictions, to say, did I hear the news of my sustainer's wisdom? Or did I, for example, hear the news that whoever is going to do it is going to be me or someone else? Or there's a message in it about that the might, the glory, the power